corporation's business. It is not to be considered a public community meeting. There may be time for public participation as indicated by agenda item or as directed by the president. The meeting site is fully accessible. Any person requiring further accommodation should contact the superintendent at the school corporation central office. The meeting will be electronically recorded and will be kept on file in the superintendent's office. A copy of the audio recording will also be available on the NLCS website. And now, if everyone who can rise and uncover for the pledge. Kirsten, do you want to lead us, please? Yes.
We do have to allow the public to have an opportunity to come up and address the board on the agenda.
Okay.
On the agenda, but I think at this time it'd be appropriate.
Okay. Is there, are there any persons to address the board relative to the agenda? Are there any? No cards? Is there anyone that's missing? Okay. All right. So our first order of business is elect, and I did review Robert's rules, so I should know how to do this, but Greg, please stop me if I don't do it correctly. So we will be voting on. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you, Barb. Number 3, we did before the meeting, so Justin Soakland, Jeremy Gilbert, and I all were sworn in by Greg Pittman. Thank you. We're all official. So we will be voting on officers president, then vice president, and secretary. As these are voted on, if they are different than the person who's already in them, you will see us switch seats. So just so you know what that is. So I will open it up, the floor for nominations for president.
I would nominate Adam Parsley.
Okay. Barb? Any other nominations? Okay, I would entertain a motion to close nominations. So, Mr. King makes a motion, we close. Do we have a second? All right, Mr. Gilbert. Sorry, it took me a second. I'm used to saying Lombricht over there. Mr. Gilbert seconds. Okay, so we will vote on the nominations in the order that they were received. So, for president, all those in favor of Adam Parsley, please say aye and raise your hand. Aye. All opposed, say nay and raise your hand. Nay. Okay.
Abstained on that.
Okay. All right, so since that is a majority, we will go ahead to vice, and I'm going to let Adam take over. The mic's on.
All right, moving on then, the next position, we will open nominations for the position of the vice president of the board.
I would nominate Wendy Miller.
Okay. Any other nominations? All right. All right, any further nominations? All right, I would entertain a motion then to close nominations.
So moved.
All right, Dr. Miller moves. Do I have a second?
A second.
All right, Mr. Gilbert seconds. Then we will vote on closing nominations. All those in favor of closing nominations, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I guess there's no opposing on this.
We could.
All right, then in the order by which they were received, all those in favor of Dr. Wendy Miller for vice president, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. All opposed? All right, then I have four ayes, 3 nays on that. By majority, that is the election for vice president. So I believe at this time then, Wendy's already in the right seat. All right, moving on further down the list then, for the position of secretary, I will open nominations for the position of secretary of the board.
I would nominate Scott King.
All right. Any further nominations for the position of secretary?
Nominate Kirsten Collier.
You can decline it if you don't want it. So.
Oh, no, I'll take it if I get one.
Okay. Any further nominations then? All right, I would entertain a motion to close the nominations for position of secretary.
So moved.
All right, Dr. Miller makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Soakland seconds. All those in favor of closing nominations for position of secretary, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? All right. Now we continue then to the voting. We have, in the order which they received, for secretary, Mr. Scott King. All those in favor of Mr. King, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. All opposed? All right, I believe that's a majority then. Mr. King, you will be our secretary, and you are in the correct seat. All right, we still have appointment of other positions on our agenda. Next, I believe we will not entertain nominations for these positions. We will simply vote on them. Then for the position of treasurer, we have Ms. Fatima Carson as our treasurer, up until has been our past treasurer, and she is, I believe, up for appointment for the continuation of that position. Is that how I state that? Okay.
Just
All right.
those in favor.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Ms. Fatima, welcome back as the treasurer. All right, and then to the appointment of deputy treasurer. Ms. Eileen Jackson, who was here earlier, I do not see her now, but is up for the position of deputy treasurer. All those in favor of Ms. Eileen Jackson for deputy treasurer, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, Ms. Jackson is back as our deputy treasurer. Next on the agenda, the appointment of the attorney. Mr. Greg Pittman is up as the attorney, and we are reappointing him this year. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, Mr. Pittman, thank you. And now the various positions, liaison positions. The first one on our agenda is the appointment of an Indiana School Board Association liaison. I believe this is a board member, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right, so I would open, do we nominate?
No, you just.
Okay. All right, Mr. King, ISBA. Okay, anyone else interested? Okay, all right, all those in favor of Mr. Scott King serving as the ISBA liaison, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Next liaison position is appointment to the Park Board. Ali Barb, you signaled interest in this, is that right, or is it a different position? Okay, let's do Park Board then. Is that okay, Barb? Okay. All right, Ms. Barb Miller then is nominated. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, Barb, welcome to the Park Board Liaison. Next is appointment to the Lawrence County Redevelopment Commission. Any board member interested in the Lawrence County Redevelopment Commission?
That actually is appointed by the mayor, but.
Oh, it's appointed by the mayor.
There's somebody who's volunteering to do it, and then you can approve them.
Okay, okay. Scott, you want to do? Thank you. Okay. All right, then for the Lawrence County Redevelopment Commission liaison, Mr. Scott King. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Finally, appointment to be the liaison to the Boys and Girls Club. I believe that's to the board of the Boys and Girls Club. Is that correct? So appointment to the Boys and Girls Club board. Interest in that on our board? Okay, Jeremy? All right. Then Mr. Jeremy Gilbert is up for appointment to the liaison to the Boys and Girls Club. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. Welcome to that position, Jeremy. Thank you. Next, appointment of our superintendent, Mr. Kevin Yancey, as representative for Southern Indiana for the Southern Indiana Education Center, the Education Service Center Risk Fund Trust, and the Southern Wellness Trust. And Mr. Yancey, I assume that's a duty you're expecting,
Yes.
right?
Tell me what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. All right. All those supporting Mr. Yancey in those positions, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. And finally, I believe on the agenda we have a resolution for board compensation. Is that correct?
So this is initiated by the board, not by the superintendent, so.
According to the turn of my SBA, this is supposed to be done annually. We've had some discussions this past year about if what we had was accurate and everything, so I went in, found a resolution that's been used in the state, and made a copy of it. So basically, according to Indiana code, we get annual compensation, and then it's maxed out. There's no minimum, but you have a maximum. And then the per diem for regular and special board meetings is limited by the Board of Trustees for the Indianapolis Public Schools. And so I went ahead and just put in there that, so for the annual amount, it's the same as it's what we're receiving currently. There's no change there. For the meetings, it's just a slight increase, but it's still significantly less than the maximum from the public schools. So this just, and it says this resolution will stay into effect unless it's modified by another resolution. So we still should probably do it annually, I guess, and look at it. But
So this is the same as before? Or it's
no,
decreased?
the regular meeting,
But the
per-
2,000 is the same?
yes, the annual's the same, and then that's per the state code. And then the per diem for the regular meeting is slightly higher.
What was our, what was the previous per diem for, I know it was different term depending on the type of meeting. Do you
I believe
remember?
it was 62. So it's,
Fatima, do you know that off the top of your head? 60?
okay, so I guess it is a reduction then.
So it's not a reduction in the 2,000 per
Ju-
year?
Yeah, just in the per diem,
It's,
so.
so it's $50 less for regular meetings, and what was the special one?
It's 12 less for special,
$12 less.
and it's, right, and it's 37 less for regular.
So we used to get 125 for regular meetings, is that
Mhm,
correct?
22.
What does it-
The current rate is 112 for regular meetings, 2 for a special.
Okay, thank
Right.
you.
But there was I think, a resolution passed years ago that limited you to only the highest of those in one day.
Yeah,
If you had
Oh, okay,
3 meetings,
that makes sense.
if you had 2 meetings, you could get the higher of the 2.
I see.
But that rate has gone up to 150 now
Yeah.
and 75.
so yeah, this,
Maximum
yeah.
amount, you don't have to.
Last year the max was 112, this year the max is 150. I just took half the max that they were using, so.
So,
Max now is 150 for regular meetings and 75 for
Special.
special or executive. That changed a couple years ago.
so who came up with 75?
I'll just put together a resolution. We can change it. We can change it and then vote on it. So I just threw this together because we needed to put something together after discussions we had the last few months. And it's supposed to be done annually. And
You don't- you don't
last year,
have to
yeah,
what you had.
last year it was 112 and then Indianapolis Public Schools raised it, so. And I got this from the Indianapolis Public Schools and just,
Why did you think we should, I mean, just out of curiosity, why did you think that the regular should be decreased from 75, from 1 up to 75?
I don't know, I just thought half of what it was makes sense, but we can change it. I thought we kept the annual the same, but
Are we pressed to do this today, like appoint
No.
officers and
We
things
can
like that?
table it.
We can table it?
Good at regular meetings, table it today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it would be good to do, I don't know how many, doing the math in my head right now is not very, very fast right now. So if we could maybe table this, I don't know if do I need to make a motion to, or accept the motion to table that, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I make a motion that we table the presented board compensation resolution.
All right. Mr. King makes a motion to table this for further discussion at a future meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Gibler seconds. All those in favor of tabling, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Let's make sure this does get on the agenda for our,
For the 23rd, right?
correct. Okay, next on our agenda, I believe it's over to Mr. Yancey.
Thank you, Mr. Parsley. We are asking approval for the 2025 board meeting dates that you have in front of you. That will be publicly put on our website.
Okay, do you want to, I don't know, Wendy, were you here when we talked through there were a couple of, and highlighted in yellow, there were a couple that are variables, and I think we tried to nail those down.
You know,
We picked
March the
first.
13th,
We
June
picked
the
the first of
12th,
each
The
one.
first of each one, so I don't know. if that
and
was your
October
conversation.
the 9th.
Okay. All right, I would accept a motion then to make this schedule official and publish it with the variable dates, the first of each of those selected.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Sokol makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Dr. Miller seconds. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, there's our schedule. Okay, I believe we have a few different sessions yet this evening, but I believe this will conclude this meeting. As we just confirmed, our next meeting date is Thursday, the January the 23rd
That's 6.
at 6 p.m.
And we have a work session at 5:30.
with a work session at 5:30 p.m.
Yep.
And that'll both be here. All right, with that then, I would,
Mr. President, I would
oh,
also,
sorry, Mr. Pittman.
I'd invite the public for an opportunity to address the board since it's an open session.
Okay.
Not relative to the.
All right, then I would invite the public attendees here an opportunity to address the board on items not relative to the agenda. Anyone like to address the board? Okay, seeing no one then, I appreciate that, Mr. Pittman. Then I would open the floor for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, Dr. Miller makes the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Kilbert seconds. All those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. That's it then.
Right.
I believe we have then our next is a financial session. What's next?
Finance Committee.
Finance Committee meeting? All right, then I will, do we have to open the same way as we opened the, okay, all right.
Declare it open.
All right, then I declare this Finance Committee meeting open, and Mr. Yancey, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, we have to we're asking approval to appoint a board on the finance as president. We usually, the person that's president of the board usually steps in for this, but you have to decide that.
Okay. We'll accept that then. We need to vote on that, I assume? All right,
Master means.
for the,
Motion and second.
all right, I would accept motions for appointment of, what's this position?
You are on the
Finance
board of
president.
finance president.
Finance president, all right. I would accept a,
Make a motion that we accept the current board president as the finance president.
all right, have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Sokol seconds. Any discussion? I think I forgot to accept discussion. All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right,
And we're asking for an appointment of the board of finance secretary. In the past, we've always used the secretary, but you have to decide.
okay.
Make a motion that we have the board secretary be the financial secretary.
All right, have a motion to use the secretary as the finance secretary. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Ms. Miller seconds. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right,
At this time, Fatima will go over our finance of our investments with you. We copied it for you also, for you had the investments in front of you.
So at the end of this past year, we had 5 different interest-bearing bank accounts. So you see the details on the printout and on the screen. It's been a big focus since I've taken this position and since Mr. Yancey's been the superintendent on figuring out ways to increase our interest rate. So you'll, thank you. Just just felt so intimate in this meeting that felt unnecessary. To increase our interest rate across our various accounts, so you can see that we've increased it for both of our rainy day accounts as well as for our Chase savings account, and then we opened the Bedford Federal savings account with the bond proceeds. And then my one suggestion for consideration would be to move a greater portion of our Chase checking account into our Chase savings to continue to earn more interest. And those two accounts are linked, so we can move the funds back and forth more easily when we have large payments to make. But in the meantime, it could be sitting there earning more interest. So that's something we can think about, and this committee can help guide that decision. Does anyone have any questions?
Don't believe so. Thank you, Ms. Carter. Anything else, Mr. Yancey?
Did you receive, this is our budgets?
Yep.
So there's two things I look for at the end of the year, is what percentage of our budget did we spend? So as you look at the education fund and the operation fund are our two major sources where we keep our income. So on the fourth page, you'll see the educational fund, we spent about 86% of that budget. That was done on purpose because, you know, I've been trying to reduce the amount of staff that works. So this will help us in negotiations, as we go into negotiations, next school year. The operation fund is on the back page. We spent about 87% of the budget. My goal is always to be under 90. That is not a law. That's just what when I took classes and worked with other superintendents over the years, you never want to totally spin your budget down to total. So again, we're trying to prepare ourselves for negotiations because we do want to give a raise as we've done in the past year, the last 2 years here at North Lawrence. So we're on track for that. So we have to continue to watch our spending as every entity in the state is. So I'm very pleased that with our investments and what we're doing with our, it's been a good year. Always remember that will not be 600,000 each year because we invested the bonds that we are going to pay for Shawswick and Needmore's renovation of their HVAC. So that money's already been appropriated. I will not pay that money until the project's done and it's completed where we're satisfied. So then by law, I have to spend that down. The interest that's made in those accounts have to be spent in that area that the board approved. And I have a time limit of about a year after the project's done to spend that money down. That money that cannot be transferred into any other accounts, the interest I made off of bonds. The educational fund and the operations fund, the board has control of that. So we have to watch, and I have great faith in Fatima, that we will watch where this money goes because there are state guides where I can spend it. So we're watching it to make sure, and you'll be notified how we spend that interest on those bonds. I'm looking at cosmetics, I will be honest with you, in our district, and furniture. It's been neglected for many years. So no one ever really budgets unless they're remodeling a school, total cosmetics. That's carpet, tile, painting. So we will use a lot of that interest for doing cosmetics that's very needed, I believe, in our schools. So Shawswick and Needmore, as we do the renovation of HVAC and the lighting and so forth, we will also be looking at replacing their carpet or going to tile possibly. But you have to vote on that. So we will bring it in front of you just like, but I'm really pleased with what we've done with our funds because this is what we should be doing, looking for the best rates and use competition. So thank you.
All right, any further questions or comments relative to the Finance Committee meeting?
You need to have a motion and a second and a vote to approve the report.
Okay.
Accept the report.
Then I would open the floor for a motion to approve the financial report as submitted. Ms. Miller makes the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Dr. Miller seconds. All those in favor of approving the financial report as submitted, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, I believe that brings conclusion to our. Sorry, I believe that brings conclusion to our financial committee meeting, and I would accept a motion to adjourn the financial committee meeting.
So moved.
All right, Dr. Miller makes a motion. Do I have a second? Mr. King seconds. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Okay, then we are now out of Finance Committee meeting. And at this time, I believe we have a special session that we will declare open at this point, right?
Yes.
All right.
Once again, you need to allow the public an opportunity to come up and address the board relative to the agenda.
Okay. Then in this special session, I would invite the public, if anyone would like to address the board and with respect to the agenda, you're welcome to. We're actually losing people. So. All right. All right. Hearing none, then we will move on to the agenda items. Mr. Yancey.
Thank you, Mr. Parsley. We are asking approval of the personnel agenda.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Yancey. The personnel agenda is in the board members' folders. I would open for nominations of approval of the personnel agenda as submitted. All right, Ms. Miller makes a motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Gilbert seconds. Any discussion relative to the personnel agenda? All right, hearing none. Then all those in favor of approval of the personnel agenda, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you. We are asking approval for agreement to resolve an employment status.
All right, I don't believe we have details of this in our folder.
It's in your packet.
Is it?
It's not? It was sent to you.
It was sent to
It was
Yes.
sent to us, okay.
Yes.
Um,
I have it here.
Okay. All right, yes, the board has seen these details and discussed this. So I would accept a motion for the approval of agreement to resolve this employment status agenda item.
So moved.
All right, Dr. Miller makes the motion. Do I have a second? All right, Mr. King seconds. Any discussion relative to this motion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of approval of the agreement to resolve employment status as submitted, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? All right, one abstention. All right.
Thank you. I have a few announcements to make real quick. First, I want to thank our maintenance and custodians for all the snow removal. Also, I want to thank our parents and students for the increase in attendance last semester at North Lawrence Community Schools. It was a huge increase in attendance from last year. Of course, when we start back school next week, I hope that we continue to increase our attendance in our schools. It's very important that our students are attending our classes. Also, I want to, about the next board meeting on June 23rd, we have board pictures. I would like to take board pictures at 5:20. We do put the board picture up as you come into the building and also our website. So at 5:20, we'll take the picture. Then at 5:30, we'll go into a work session. Mr. Stockdale from PSG will be here to talk about the next project that I would like to do with the next bond. Then we would go into our board meeting regular board meeting at 6. And again, thank you to our public for this week with all the snow. And I'm excited to start school, let me tell you. So,
Yeah, I think most parents are excited to have their kids start school. All right, any further announcements then, Mr. Yancey?
5:30. Yeah, board pictures.
Okay. All right, then I would invite any public comments or input to the board not relative to the agenda in this final special session. All right, hearing none then. I'd like to thank Dr. Miller for her service to the board as the president for the last 2 years. Appreciate your work and all that. And then finally, then I would accept the nomination, accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Or
All right,
second.
Ms. Collier moves. Do I have a second? Mr. Gilbert seconds. All those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye.